I'm here today with the fucking infamous Adam Sullivan. He's an entrepreneur, he's a coach, and he's actually one of the only online fitness coaches on the planet right now that has an 8-figure business. So I'm just going to flop that right out there.
Don't tell him that.
And look, I say that because I think, you know, I get a lot of guests on this podcast that have got big names, have been around the industry a long time. You know, you've obviously really taken the industry by storm the last few years, but I think unbeknownst to a lot of people, you've actually been in this game for over a decade now. So I think, firstly, great to have you on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
But jumping into it, like, tell us a little bit about, like, how did you get into the industry? I mean, obviously you've been in it for over a decade, but tell us a little bit about that story, man.
All right. Well, it started, as you know, I'm from Blacktown, working in a bottle shop.
Yep.
And I actually I went on a holiday to the Gold Coast and I saw the fitness industry there, and I was like, I think I could do this. Anyway, I moved to the Gold Coast. I transferred with the bottle shop, trained at the gym, and I thought, I'm going to finish off my certificate 3 and 4 from 2 years ago. Yep. I'm going to hand in my assignments.
Yep.
And then I got into it. But by the way, I actually went for 10 job interviews to be a PT in Sydney, and I got declined from all of them. And I'm so thankful for it.
Fucking oath.
Thank you, everyone that didn't give me a job.
Yeah. And so, like, you obviously started in that, you came up to the Goldie, but then, like, how did you, I know, like, from our chat, you kind of were at Good Life. Is that where you started, or kind of?
So I was at the same gym the whole time. I think I was there for 8-9 years. It was initially called Phoenix. Good Life took over the franchise, and then I was working for Good Life. As COVID hit, I had already started going online. So...
Well, if you don't mind, I want to talk about that, because a lot of people kind of just see the online thing with you now. They don't realize that you were kind of, you know, getting up at 4 or 5 a.m. to kind of do those sessions. Like, talk to us about the first 5 years of the industry, like all the doubters, all of the 5 a.m. starts, all of the prospecting on the gym floor. Like, talk to us about that, because I think that's the reality still for a lot of coaches today.
This is something I forgot about.
Yeah.
But at the time, it is what it is, you know. When you want to be a PT, it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, like, your goals, I want to be doing 40 sessions a week. But you get to 40 sessions a week and you realize this is fucked. Like, I got no time to do nothing. You're getting up at 5 a.m. You're training when your clients want to train, right? They want to train at the peak times, 5 a.m. till 9. You got that break in the day, then you're back at 4. Go until whenever. You're just doing whatever you can. If you want a session at this time, I'm there. That's how I was doing it.
Did you have any mentors back then? Like anyone kind of that you were going to advice and stuff like that?
Well, like the PT manager at the time at the gym was a real good guy. Good friends of mine still. Caught up with him last week.
Awesome.
He would basically, he was a PT for a long time. He would give me advice on what to do and I would go do it. He'd be like, go do this. I'd go do it. He'd be like, holy shit, keep doing it. I remember he said to me in the interview, he's like, listen, mate, you think you're good, you're a bit cocky, but if you listen to what I say, you'll be successful. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. And I just followed what he said for years. He was a big part of me being a PT and growing and then going from a PT to a businessman. I remember him saying to me, Adam, you've gone to uni, you've done all the right things, but you're a technician. You're really good at being a PT. And now you're talking to me about money. PTs don't make money, businessmen make money. So that was my transition. I remember sitting there with him talking about that, and that's when I changed my mindset and changed the way I started thinking about things.
How much were you kind of like earning around that time as a PT?
I went through phases because I actually got really busy around 2 years in, making maybe $3,000 a week. That was good. Yep. But it got to a point where I was like, well, I've done my PT certs. I'm not that confident in my knowledge. So I went and did exercise science. So that was 4 years at uni grinding while I'm a PT. And I didn't finish school, so I had to do everything I could just to get through that course. But I took the most from it because I had to grind so hard. It taught me real hard work and what you got to actually do and sacrifice to get through something.
On that point, like, what's your opinion now, obviously, on education? Like, you come from doing that university back. I think we were speaking about this today whilst we were working out, and you kind of corrected me with where the industry's at these days, which is fairly true, but obviously you come from a science background. Like, do you think that's played an important part in your success?
100%.
Yeah.
You can't call your business evidence-based training with a Cert 4. But man, I grinded and I did really well in some classes. And that's like, it's not only the knowledge you learn, it's not about what you learn, like that specific knowledge, you learn how to learn. So that was a big thing for me, and you learn how to work hard, and you learn that's if you're not gifted and just getting through, which I'm thankful for, because I had to work hard to get through that. And it gave me the confidence in myself that I can do something I want to do.
What's your opinion actually these days? Like, you know, like me, you kind of spent the first 5-10 years kind of in the trenches grinding, doing 40-50 sessions a week and all that. Like, obviously you don't really need to do that these days, but do you still think it's worthwhile for new trainers to spend 6-12 months in the trenches kind of getting that experience?
Well, like, not for no reason.
Yeah.
It always plays a purpose. Like, yeah, you can skip that shit if you do the right things. You don't have to make all the mistakes, but you do have to like go through hard times and learn from that and then progress. So like, I'm so thankful for my whole experience, from like every mistake I made, all the pointless stuff I did, all the effort I put into something that wasn't taking me to the next level. It all like pushes you to where you want to be. So like, everyone's going to have their own experience. I've seen people do it quicker. I've seen people give up, but like, it's all, you just got to trust what you're doing and keep going. So,
and so was it what, like the first, this probably from our discussions kind of went on for 5, 6, 7 years kind of working in the gym space. And then kind of, I know from when we spoke, like you made that transition online, but like what triggered it? Like, how did you go from knocking, you know, earning, because I think that's the biggest thing with people. It's now, it's like they're working in a gym, they're trading time for money. And then they see people like yourself and that they've got these amazing online businesses, and they're like, well, how the fuck do you go from 5 a.m. session with Johnny Gen Pop client to online coach? How did that, what was the light bulb for you?
I was in Bali and I went, all right, I've been at this gym for 7 years now. I leave, I have nothing. Every lead, everything you've built up, you want to move away, you want to go anywhere. But you're not getting paid when you're on a holiday, and you leave, that's, your whole database is gone. The gym owns it. So I thought, well, this ain't working. I went through many cycles of I'm busy and I'm overworked, and now I'm not busy and I'm like stressing. How do I pay my bills? Same cycle. So I went through phases of like, what am I fucking doing with myself? Even though I loved it, I didn't know anything else. So I had to just keep going. When I was in Bali, I'm like, something's got to change here. So I came up with a system of selling nutrition and training to the client with a PT session. Because another thing is, like, I found that was way better value than you train with me 4 times a week. Like, who can afford to do that? It's not sustainable for anyone. So I figured I'll sell the training nutrition, which is where you get your results. You follow this program. You're going to get results.
And then you just touch base once a week.
And then we have our training session to touch up on anything you're not confident doing on your own. And it started with that. And I went from charging, say, $60 a session. Now I'm charging $100 for that. And then I was getting busy. People were getting results. So now it's $120, and it went up to $150. And it got to the point where I had too many inquiries. So by this point, I've made an Instagram. Right? I'm coming to the end of finishing uni.
How many followers did you have?
1,000, 2,000. But what it was all the people I've trained over the years are finding me again. And they're all going, oh, I remember him. I want to go back. So as soon as I made it, that's 7 years of people. They were all in my phone.
I love
so
that.
when you go on Instagram and you can add all your contacts from your phone, everyone's seeing me pop up. I just immediately was booked out as soon as I did that.
That's hack one right there. You want to go
like,
online.
You don't need a big following. Like it just starts, And
so you really kind of, you didn't go straight online. You went more like the hybrid model. Like,
I transitioned.
But like, so you obviously, you transitioned from a hybrid standpoint really, and you kind of engaged all of your old clients via Instagram. And then what happened?
So what I was saying, it got to a point where I didn't see the value in someone training with me now, because like how much you have to spend. I believe more in the service I'm giving you through the nutrition program and the training program. That's what's helping you here. And if you can follow that on your own, that's even better than relying on me. So some people would be like, I want that session. But I was turning people away now. Like, nah, don't do that. But then I could see more people and go, this is what you want. This is what's going to get you results. I'll see you once a month. And then they would find like, maybe they don't even need that. Then the online inquiries start kicking in. Then it's just all online. So the online side starts building. And then it got to a point where I'm training too many people. That break you usually have as a PT, I was just doing programs. And I go back, train more people. And then I'm still behind. So it was getting a bit out of control. That's about the point where I employed my first person.
I was going to say, yeah. So I think that's a pivotal point. Like I remember the first person I brought on for me was similar situation. Like my hours didn't meet my demand. And it was just like, I didn't want to knock business back because that's not a good business move.
Never.
So I was
even
like,
now.
Yeah. So I was like, well, how can I facilitate that? Where did you look to get your first team member? Did you look inwards to your database or?
I had one interview with someone.
Yeah.
They were a dietitian and like I just asked them how much they want to be paid and it was something ridiculous. So immediately it wasn't even a negotiation. No.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I called a client who had been with me for a long time who is now our GM.
Okay.
She's been with me from that point.
Awesome.
And she runs 60 staff now. So we've both evolved together. But I called her, hey, Joey, do you want to do nutrition plans? I'll pay you this. And she's like, oh, okay. And what happened was she jumps on, didn't even hear from her, does all the plans, figures out how to use the website I've built. In this time, somehow along the way, I've built some website where the clients could log in and you make plans on it. I don't know where that came from. A mate of mine did it for me for like $1,000. It took him 6 months to build.
Well, let's actually backtrack on that. So like you obviously, you started engaging on Instagram, you were getting leads in. By this time, had the EBT brand been established? Like where did, okay. And so what kind of triggered that? Because I mean, like you've got the golden nugget with that fucking name.
This is how it worked.
Yeah.
Girlfriend at the time, she did some Instagram stuff for my brother and I messaged her like, oh, I need an Instagram. Oh, I'll make you one. What do you want to call it? Evidence-based training. That's it. That's how, because I was just finishing uni.
Yeah.
First thing I thought of, bang, done.
Yeah.
That's it. Took me 1 minute to think of the name.
Wow. And obviously at what point, like obviously she came on, she started facilitating clients. Like how quickly did you bring on number 2, number 3? How quickly did the team expand over that first 12 months?
I can't remember how long before COVID it was that this happened, but I just employed her. She was so efficient. I was trying to give her full-time work and she would do it in 10 hours. I'm like, you don't get paid as much, like work slower or something. So she's like, get more clients. And like COVID hits, we lost like 50 clients in 10 minutes. We had just hit 100 clients. We're like, oh my God, we've done it. We've done it. And we lose 50, boom, after that announcement. And I'm thinking, fuck, I've just employed this girl and it's over. It was a good run. I'm going to go back to the gym, be a PT. Anyway, a week after, all of a sudden the gyms are closed. Everyone wants an online coach. I've got the website ready to go. I'm ready to go. I've already been marketing it. Boom. And then things just started going crazy.
So at that point, like on 100 clients, and I think for a lot of online coaches, like getting to that point, like ballpark, like what type of revenue were you bringing in at that point?
I think we were doing $5,000 to $7,000 a week.
Okay. Yeah. So you're doing like, probably $250 to $350 a year or something like that, like pro rata.
Well, it was like, it wasn't a year.
Yeah, it was a few months.
It just went from 100 to bang, 200, 300.
Yeah.
Like it grew quick.
Yeah.
That's when we're like, we need more people working for us. I'm like, who do you know? That's you. Who's as good as you, Joey? No one. Well, who's the next best thing? I've got a friend. And we just, he was doing exercise science at uni. And I think he'd just finished and then we got him. And we had 2. And another funny story, the third employee is my best mate. Sent me a random message. Show me a check for this. I quit my job today. I work for you. I go, brother, I got a check for double that. I earned double that this month. I'm like, do you actually want a job? Because like, I'm serious. And like it was a big thing. Me and him had talked in the past, like, oh no, friends can't work for you. But
no, you can. I think you just got to be clear on expectations and kind of rules of engagement. And so basically COVID came, that was like February, March, and you're on 100 clients, you lost 50. Like where was the business at kind of 9 months later, like by the time you got to the end of the year heading into 2021?
We would have been 300 to 500 clients.
Yep. Yeah. So you kind
of... And we had 3 people doing everything. Me and then my 3 staff doing servicing 500 clients.
And had you... like along this journey had you started to evolve? Like what did you started to evolve and change with your approach to social? Anything? Or
at this point we were still just posting like comparative pictures of calories. Like the socials wasn't that good.
Yeah.
I did have a good friend of mine. She was an influencer. She is an influencer. She's also what helped drive more people. So when I was a PT, I was training Sky Wheatley, and that's when things really started kicking for me. Like I would never need a lead again. Like, and
but they were obviously coming to you because you were good at what you did.
yeah, well, like that gets them to your page.
Yeah.
But you got to have a good page. You got to be ready for them, and you got to have a good service. So you can't just train an influencer and blow up. Like I've seen so many people work with people with big followings, and they get nothing out of it because they're not ready for it. Like it's not you train an influencer and you get busy. It's like you're ready for them. You give them value for free for a long time. You just want them to follow you, and you want to provide them value every day for nothing. I had someone just sign up with me that's been following me for 5 years.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been watching you this long. I'm ready to do it. 5 years. So think about that, and think about the value you can provide these guys for free for so long, how much they're going to trust you, and then who's their go-to, you know?
It was that whole thing of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I think in our industry, it's like everyone's like, you know, people look at you and might say, oh, he's an overnight success. It's like, well, actually, he's been doing this for a decade plus. You know, he was earning $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week.
Less.
Yeah, 500 a week, $1,000 a week.
Some weeks I earned negative as a PT. I paid to work there.
Yeah, paying the rent and all that. Yeah,
that was rough.
Yeah. So like you came into the 2021, you know, 300-400. That time you've got like a team, like the startings of a business.
Yeah.
Obviously it was like 2021. Like when was the point when you knew that this whole thing was going to blow up?
To me, it had blown up.
Yeah.
That's like 100 clients. I'm like, holy shit. I don't have to be a PT face-to-face anymore. That's blowing up to me. It was all blowing up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've just been grateful for every step of the way. So now I realize like it never stops. It's constant progress, and that's it. So it blows up. It's just blowing up every day. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. I just keep doing what I need to do every day, and it's going in the right direction. And
how did you, like, obviously, you know, you'd gotten the clients and you're getting the results. I think one thing that you obviously do fucking awesome, and it's a thing that a lot don't do, is the whole aspect of community. You know, cunnies, the following and stuff like that. Like, when did that really start to kind of get into it?
Well, we started running challenges.
Yeah.
Because we felt like that was something to focus on to drive more people to get started at a certain time. It just gives you a way to promote your service.
And you still do that today?
Still do it.
Yeah.
It's just like a way of dressing it up and making it shiny, and like getting everyone involved in something. We were just learning as we were going. Like, so this community that we've built was like, we didn't intend to make it like this. It just happened.
And just side note, guys, like I think, you know, Adam and I walked from the restaurant last night down to Darling Harbour in a not very densely populated part of the city. And I think he got pulled over about 12, 15 times by old people, young people, like all different sorts. It was pretty fucking awesome to see.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was an accident. Like I just said cunny one day on a video, cooking a Big Mac. Everyone thought I said, I'm like, hey, cunnies, I'm going to cook a Big Mac today. And everyone thought I said honey. And they're like, oh, he's so nice. I'm like, he said cunny. What's that mean? I'm actually not nice.
Yeah.
But it just got such a good response, that video. And then it started getting to the point where like, oh, I don't want to watch this. You didn't say cunny.
Yeah.
Now it's like you didn't spin kick. Like this video needs more spin kicks. Where's the banana phone? It's just, I don't know what is going on, but I love it. I'm like, I'll pick up the banana. I go, this is so good. Where's Trey? He knows.
He's hiding somewhere.
He's ran away.
But talk to me, like, obviously, you know, there's that side of things, like, and obviously seeing it last night, you know, being around you and whatnot, like, have you found there's maybe a dark side or a different point to kind of obviously being in the limelight?
Yeah, there's things you got to look out for.
Yeah.
There can be a downside. It depends on you.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are you doing? Are you being true to who you are? Is what you're
Being
doing
authentic.
aligning with how you are outside of when the camera's not rolling? Like I've gone through different phases through this, like through the journey of, you know, going from nothing to this is what you do now and you're making this money. I lost my purpose through it, you know, because like I'd handed on. I was so used to doing all the jobs. I'm making the plans. I'm doing this. I'm making the content. I'm doing everything alone. And then I outsourced and I was left with nothing for a while. I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I had to like refine my purpose because you lose your confidence in yourself. You're like, how do my staff members sit there and work like that and do all these jobs and I'm chilling and I'm getting paid more. But like, what am I doing? So like you start to think, what's my purpose? And I had to refine that at times and like have all the money, but like you find yourself in dark places sometimes. I think I've gone a bit off from what we were saying, but like I'm just,
No,
as
like,
we
well,
talk here, it's been a long 12 years.
It's an awesome point though, because I think entrepreneurs, you get to a certain level with your business and there are certain things that you let go as well, you know, as you kind of build out the team and build that trust and kind of get people in that are better than you in certain things and stuff like that. It's a massive part of the learning journey. What would you say, like, what would be your one bit of advice to entrepreneurs? Like that probably would have happened for you, I would say, no doubt, as you kind of went from, you know, 7 into 8 figures.
Nah, just going from 0 to 7.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
That process for you.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Like dealing with that, dealing with like money coming in that you've never seen. Like you can't sleep. You can't stop thinking. You're like, what the fuck is going on? I remember I used to just be driving and just be anxious for some reason and just feel like I wanted to cry. Just for no reason. I'm like, what is actually happening? And then it becomes the norm and you start to relax in it and accept it and becomes part of who you are. And like that's a whole transition.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. You would know when you think back to those feelings 100%. And you're like, holy fuck.
I agree. Like that kind of going from like 300-400 to a million in revenue, that was the most anxious, full on, stressful, chaotic, don't know what the fuck I'm doing period of my career. Like it was, you know, and you've kind of got 1, maybe 2 people in your team, 3 people in your team. And, you know, like for me, probably like you, it was people from my network that were like clients or friends. And so like none of us had the experience with it.
Yeah.
We were just figuring out on the fly and making a lot of mistakes along the way.
We're all just trying to get through the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that one, Trey? What were we saying? I think I was going to go further into that.
No, we're just talking about kind of like, you know, really letting go as part of the process and kind of like being able to delegate, pass off and that.
So this is when I started doing the videos. This is what gave me purpose and took things to a crazy level. So things were already great. I'm already a millionaire. No one's even seen me talk really.
Yeah.
It was all on the stories. No one knew Adam. They didn't know my personality. They got a bit of it. Like my stories used to go off what I was doing in the reels, I was doing in the stories. But like, as you know, it's like I used to just not do the reels out of fear of being judged or getting out there. Like you're like, I don't know why I didn't do them.
Yeah.
And when I started it, they just went immediately bang. Like nothing crazy, but really it is like you got 100,000 people watching a reel. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then business went even further and further from there. But then it just was like, I love this. And if you went back and watched my first reels, they absolutely sucked. Yeah. But you know, at the time, it was getting good engagement. It was going off, and it got me waking up excited, thinking all this knowledge I have through 10 years of doing this, going to uni, now I can actually put my personality behind it and get out there. And then ever since that, like it's just been, this is what I'm doing. And I've just, you know.
The first thing I take away from that is like, just fucking do it. You know, it's like
100%.
you were over analyzing it, and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to fucking do it. Then as soon as you did it, shit started going upwards. The other thing I would actually take from that though is like, what would you say? Like, I think outside of actually doing it, like if we're looking at 2024 right now for coaches or anyone really that's an entrepreneur that is looking at using social, like what's one thing that they can just start doing today to actually start building a brand and building a profile online?
They just need to get on there, start making content and suck.
Yeah.
And start dealing with people hating on you. Like that shit doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So the quicker you get that out of the way and quicker you realize that doesn't mean shit, the better.
Yeah.
Just get on there and suck. Who cares? Because you're going to get better.
Yeah.
Think about when you first went to the gym. You couldn't do anything. And then over time, you just build up and you're exposed to it. You start to think of more ideas. It opens up everything for you and you just get better. And then you look back in 2 years and you go, holy shit, look at my first video and look at me now. And you don't need to be crazy popular and you don't need to be going viral. Like you've already got your people there. So like give them value. Let them tell their friends. Even if you've got 10,000 followers, you can have $1 million business.
I think the biggest thing I know from speaking with a lot of, you know, creators and people on social is like, it really is a skill that you stack over time. You know, that bit that you just said then about like sucking, like you had to suck before you became good and you had to be good before you became great.
I'll look back at what I did in 3 months and say, I want to turn inside out looking at that. That is cringe. I've done that every time. And so you should. You should look back and think that is embarrassing because you've leveled up so much every time. Like my first meal plans I was giving out, like at the time, I was still killing it and it was getting the clients great results. But now I'll look back at it and be like, that is embarrassing. Right?
What's one thing you've done, like, because I know I've struggled with this, I know lots of people do in the space, like to actually come up with ideas? Is
just part of it.
Yeah.
Like it's easy. I think what I've done to do that is go through hard times, study for 4 years, continue to learn. And then I've always been pretty creative with things. So like, for example, the business name, like things just come to me quick. That's that's an advantage I have. At uni, I had to study 3 times longer than anyone else to get a worse mark. But when it comes to this is where it's easy for me. It just comes to me. So
well, I think one thing I know from hanging out with you and kind of, you know, I think I've also got the trait too is I'm pretty quick to make a decision. I don't overanalyze it. It's like if you're in the inner circle, you're in the inner circle. Doesn't matter if I've known you for a week, a day, like we're in. Likewise with business. I think sometimes people get so fucking caught up in their own fear, their own over analytical mind. And I used to say when I was a coach, I knew a lot of coaches that were way better coaches than me, but they overanalyze shit. So the time it would take them to go from like building their business to 100 grand or 200 grand, I was able to do it in half the time because I didn't think about it. I just fucking like moved in that direction and kept moving.
Yeah. I've seen that myself where I've watched other people. I'm a better coach than them. Yeah. But they're making the moves. They're getting shit done. Yeah. They're taking the risk and I saw the reward. So I wasn't always like, boom, I'm doing this. I used to get caught up in my ways, but now it's like, now through experience, you know, potential of certain decisions and like you just pull the trigger and get it done. What's the worst that can happen, right? Yep. You would know everything you've done's worked. Yep. Like pretty much, right? Good or bad. Yeah. You think it takes you to where you are now. So everything I've ever like pulled the trigger on, it's just worked. So it's like just being confident that in yourself when you make a decision, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it work. And I think that's the thing too. It's like people make a decision, oh, I'm going to do this, but it's like, well, are you actually going to back that up with habits? You know? And then also know if it's a shit decision, don't keep going just because you made that decision. Get out, new decision time. Yeah. Right? You've got to also know when something's not working and then put your energy into the right thing. 100%. 100%. Talk then, like, obviously, one thing we've touched base on a little bit is like product development, right? So like obviously reinvesting back into your business. You mentioned your app and stuff like that. Like how important has that kind of reinvestment mindset been for you? Because I think sometimes a lot of, again, coaches, oh, I don't want to go and spend this money on this course, or I don't want to go and learn this new skill because it's going to cost me $2,000, but I've only got
$3,000, that's going to put me in the red. Like, you've obviously adopted a mindset of like, well, I don't really give a fuck what I've got. I'm going to throw that money in. Yeah. Like, talk to me a little bit about that and kind of that process.
Well, it just started like I said, I invested $1,000 into a website, but I saw the return.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. We've now spent over $1 million in app development.
Yeah, wow.
But it started with 10 grand.
Yeah.
And then you go next level, next level. I've been lucky in the way where it's like I was earning money and it was growing as I was developing. So I was never in the red. I was just reinvesting back into making it grow. And now we just spending $300,000 on the app we just built, and it costs us 30 grand a month to maintain. Okay. And to me, that's the bargain.
Yeah.
I'm like, for what
it can do.
Yeah. You know, like when the client sees what we've done, they're like, the feedback is like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And like with that 30 grand a month that we spend, we get ongoing development with it. And our goal has always been like, we've got the same service really from 5 years ago. It's the same thing. We just continue to make it better and more valuable for the client over time. How do we make this the easiest and best way for the client to just follow it and get results? That's all we're thinking. And we've been, imagine 5 years of you just thinking.
You hit the nail on the head with that, man.
5 years of going, how is this going to be better for the client? Yeah. And the price is, we didn't put our price up after we spent that money on the app. It's the same price. And the feedback's amazing. Yeah. Like, then they're going to tell their friends. you know?
I think a lot, whether it's in fitness or other industries, people sometimes get like, as they start to grow and scale and they get to 1 million, 2, 3, 5 and up to 8 and whatnot, they forget about the people that got them there and they don't put the time and energy and resources back into that, which ultimately, you know, increases the potential for that business not to last and not to grow. I think like you know, even right now with what we're doing, we're always constantly reinvesting back into our product, our technology and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, the quote that you just said, we want it to be as easy as possible and the best possible experience for our customers.
And one thing I learned early in this industry, if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards.
100%.
And like,
there's always someone else ready to fucking...
I couldn't look at the same app in 3 months from now. It might be amazing right now, but it's not going to be the same app in 3 months. It's going to be better. And if it's not, I'm not going to be happy. So ongoing progress, always.
If there was and I mean, obviously, I know you're not one to sit back and look at things and say, oh, that was a mistake, I shouldn't have done that. But if there was kind of a few kind of areas that you could recommend to people right now about social that, you know, like you would have changed how you like approach that, what would they be? What would be 1 or 2 things?
It's a very hard one to answer because I never think of that because every decision gets you to where you are now. So I'm so happy with everything I've done. Every mistake I've made, you learn. One thing would definitely be just get on there and do it, right? Like, stop waiting around. Mistakes. All right, well, I've had my account red flagged a lot of times for my behaviour. That was a tough one, but then also that one...
Actually, I'm surprised you haven't been cancelled at some point.
How am I not cancelled?
You must have someone in Meta like that likes you.
Nah, well, like, I was convinced that my account was just permanently like compromised, but it's not. Just silly shit I've done, like I've done like responding to haters on there, like just because it's funny, but then I get a mark against my name. Yeah, okay. Like I've had all the red flags is just from silly things when the stuff I'm actually doing is probably what should be. But don't get shadow banned. Yeah. That's my advice. And I don't know, make all the mistakes as you go and learn. That gives you character, and you can look back when you get there and talk about it and tell people, and you can maybe sit on a podcast in the Crown. There you go. And motivate someone.
But also, that point there, you made a good point. Like, don't get caught up in all the bullshit. Yeah. Like all the fucking. I've seen so many coaches do that over the years, and it's just like it ultimately takes you time and energy away from whatever your purpose is, and your business and your team and everything that you're doing.
Some good advice I could give someone is like, I've always used hate as a way to boost engagement for me. Okay. So if I get hated on, I'm stoked. So it changes your perspective when someone's giving you something. How can I use this to get more engagement on my account?
Okay.
So when someone actually does rip you, you're happy. Yes, this is great. You're looking for it.
Yeah.
To, you know, so I've used like hate as a way to boost engagement, and also now I just don't even look at it. Like, it's irrelevant. If you're just doing what you want to do, that means nothing. Like once you get there, it's nothing to you.
Do you have an opinion on like the different platforms out there right now, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, like preferences? Like you've probably got your preference, but again, if you were building a profile right now from the start, would you still jump on, for example, to Instagram? Or
I would be on every single one.
Yeah.
So, like 100. Even now, like I should be doing more, because like I've seen people be on this platform and they blow up, but they're not here. But then it translates over time, and then all their platforms are blown up. You know, like TikTok's a great way to get your videos out there to people that have never seen you. You can go like crazy viral overnight, millions of views. It's probably not going to happen on Instagram, but Instagram's your community and the people that are super engaged with you. So you need to be spreading yourself across all platforms, even Facebook. Facebook's a little hidden gem, you know? I don't know who's utilizing it, but I got 65,000 followers on there in a short period of time just by reposting what I already had.
Do you have community groups on Facebook?
Yeah, for the business we do.
Yeah, okay.
So we have that. But then I started posting reels to my business Facebook page, and it's some people come up to me, I know you from Facebook. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, actually, talk about that on community, because it's something that we spoke about. Like, how do you manage? Because I know, you mentioned before, you've obviously got thousands of people in your ecosystem right now as we're here as kind of paying customers. Like, what are some kind of stuff that you guys do at EBT to kind of manage that volume of customers? You've obviously got the app that delivers the service. Are they having community engagement in there, or do they send them somewhere else? Like, what does that look like?
We have the Facebook community where they can all communicate with each other and help each other. Okay. The staff get on there. I should probably get on there more. Yep. But I'm busy. Yep. We have a team of staff that are purely dedicated to helping clients know it. They can just request someone to call them and we're on it. Okay. So we have, this is something we've implemented because we were seeing a lot of drop-offs. Okay. Our retention was increasing and I'm like, this isn't right. So that's a big thing in the business. Like, it's easier to keep a customer than it is to get new ones. So you guys will even now at your level, like book in like calls if they need it to kind of help them in the program? Everyone that signs up gets a call. Awesome. Okay. So that actually, I hired 6 people in 1 week just to do that out of nowhere. And again, that's just what goes back to like, how can I give the client the best possible service and make it as easy as possible for them? Imagine you weren't getting a call and it was just one button you didn't know how to use that someone could have called you and talked you through. So you don't do your plan. So you don't commit to the 8 weeks, but you've got to pay for it because you're locked in. Yep. So you just resent that company because you're like, 100%. They ripped me off. Yeah. But if someone just told them 5-minute phone call. So that's, I guess, part of onboarding that you guys now do. Yeah. Okay. And in the Facebook groups, like, is it, like daily engagement? Like, are they? Well, it's just constant posts. Yeah. With people uploading their meals. What meals do you guys recommend? And then we got like, we engage in it and be like, it's week 1 of the challenge. Like, this is what you should look out for. And like, we'll respond to people in there, but also, to be honest, you also end up getting your customers working for you. I was going to say, it sounds like, with you guys, they're doing it themselves. Yeah. So like, someone asks a question that we would usually have to answer, but another client wants to help them. So now the clients are helping other clients. Like, what meals do you want? Or how do I do this on the app? And then someone's already answered it by the time we get there. Would you say like the community aspect of your business outside of the product, obviously the product's on point, but the community aspect has been probably the most important thing that's helped you blow up? 100%. I mean, I didn't realize how big it was until you woke up and walked out your front door. No, it was the actual shirts we did. So like, You know, like you're not going to sell mass coaching. It's slowly you slowly accumulate more clients. It's not like everyone's like, I need to be coached, and you get thousands of signups. That just grows over time. But when we did the Cunny shirts and just the EBT front runner branded shirts, I think we just did a conservative drop. I think we had 100,000 in stock, and it sold out in like 2 minutes. Just the website broke everything, and that's when it hit me like, what the fuck? We just ordered like $1 million in stock, and it's like we sold a very big chunk of that in the first like 4 hours, which is like wild.
100%.
But that like, because we kept selling out, we didn't know how much to order. Then we ordered like 350,000 in stock, sold out in 2 minutes again. So then we like really pushed it to see where we're at. And like we had like 10, 12,000 shirts. So imagine that, like I think we've sold 8,000 of them. They're everywhere.
As I told you,
amazing.
mate, like in the last 24 hours prior to, last 48 hours prior to us catching up at the gym, I saw it a few times in the street. So I see it. It doesn't really matter where I am. Sunshine Coast, back on the Central Coast is popping up. But actually, you made a good point, like with like brand partnerships and collaborations and stuff like that. Obviously, when you started, that wasn't something that would have been on your radar. You just going about your business, building your brand. What about for like those that have obviously built their brand and now they're getting the DMs of saying, hey, do you want to wear my shit? Or do you want to represent my supplement company and stuff like that? Like what's been your approach to kind of how you select who you're going to partner up with, but then also how you come up with a deal that's win-win for both parties?
Well, it happens organically. Like, are you already wearing that brand? Because I was, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it made sense because I started wearing those shirts because I wanted to. And then it was never about trying to sell mass shirts to the public or like trying to make money out of it. Because even with the largest drop, it's nothing compared to what my business does.
Yeah.
But for me, it's passion and like, I want to see that out there and I love the shirts. As you know, you were wearing one, you're like, fuck the quality on it.
Yeah.
And like the point, so the only collaborations I've ever done is something that happened over time organically through first like building a friendship and relationship with someone who I think's a genuine person and just trying to build their business with integrity. So you look at that first. I'm not going to do it. If you know what we're saying, like if you get this vibe from someone, something's a bit off, like it's not happening. Yeah. That's the first thing. Then the product, obviously you're already wearing it. You love it genuinely. And then what you come up with them, like I'm jumping around the room when I see these shirts. I'm like, this is psycho. So that's what I think about.
So if you
and you grow together as a business.
100%.
So like you're in it, and even at first it's not going to be as good as it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-off grab. Like if I'm working with someone, I'm working with them forever. Yeah. Like we're in it now. And we're just going to keep taking this like it's a whole new business. Both of us are going to grow this to a new level. Yeah. So that's how I think about a collaboration.
I was having that discussion this morning with Lane Norton, and we brought up it's year 6 for us kind of working together. And, you know, him and I were recently talking just about like, initially it was literally just a fucking, let's just jump on a call. We haven't caught up in a while to... Here's an idea, let's do some seminars. And then half a decade later, we've done, you know, like service tens of thousands of students, done millions of dollars of revenue along the way. And it's just been fucking easy. Yeah. You know, it's just been easy. Like I call it the barbecue test. It's like, would I have this person at my house for a barbecue around my kids? If not, fuck off. Very nicely. But it's just like, I've got to have that fucking vibe with them
100%.
And that trust. Because I think it's important, like I've realized as you get to different levels, it's like not trying to put all the pressure on yourself to do everything, right? And it's just like, yes, you can have your core business that's, you know, your main thing that you do. But, you know, if you've got the right people that are aligned from an integrity standpoint, if it's a product or something like that you believe in and whatnot, it's not really selling. It's just kind of doing, referring. It's not a sale.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
also it's like, I would never want to be looked at as like I'm doing something for a money grab.
Yeah.
Because I don't need the money for anything I do.
Yeah.
And like, I hope I make that clear with the way I do things. If I'm doing something with someone, I do it out of love for it. And like, if anything, it affects the money I'm making really, because
100%.
I could be putting that energy into my own product. But it gives me motivation to get up, and it gives me excitement. And that's, you would know as well, when you're like, don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You're just looking for like, what's a positive thing?
Passion.
Not going out and drinking and doing this. Like, what
Yeah.
gets me excited, getting up, just motivated to work. And that's where collaborations have been a good motivation for me. And like, that's the value I see in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this gets me up and gets me excited, and it's delivering a different side of me to
Puts
like,
a bit more fuel on the fire.
yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me then. Well, actually, let's talk about Clean Off Live. Let's talk about Clean Off Live.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We don't know much about it yet.
Don't know much about it. Well, I mean,
we'll
look,
be there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Adam, you know, thankfully he's actually going to come there, mate. So we're fucking pumped for that, brother. Can't wait to have you on stage. Like, talk to me. I know we've spoken about it before. Like, a lot of the coaches that are up on stage, you know, back young Adam, the trainer, was kind of, you know, like watching, following, stuff like that. Like, how is it to you from a headspace standpoint to be able to actually get up on stage of these people that you kind of once looked at as mentors and actually be up there with a colleague and impacting the industry?
Well, one of the big reasons I want to do it, I would have been that guy sitting in there watching, but I want to let everyone know that it doesn't matter who you are, you always have to challenge yourself. I've never done a talk like that, but I'm excited to show people, like, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you look for the next thing. The thing you're scared of is the thing you run at, and you keep going.
100%.
And that's what's got me to where I am. And this is another way to branch out and take it to a new level and challenge myself. And like the feeling I'm going to have after I do that, it just gives me a whole new level of confidence that you can do anything.
It's a new skill.
And you just
you're
run
stack.
at it. It's like making a reel. I would have been more nervous to make my first reel in front of a camera than I will be for this, because I know the reward. When it's like, does it get you a little bit nervous? Good. You should feel that way. Go do it. Everything you're feeling is what you should be feeling, and use it to go do it and nail it. So,
well, even for those that, like, I often say, sometimes people get scared to get in the room just as an attendee.
100%.
You know, like, oh, should I go invest a couple $100 or whatnot to do it? And my response is like, if you want to get to a different level, you need to be around people that are at a different level from where you're currently at and that you aspire to be at. So sometimes you just got to fucking throw your hat in the arena and fucking show up.
Yeah. Even like, just you saying that, I remember I was the kid at uni thinking I shouldn't be here. Like, how can I even be in this room? All these people are so smart. I'd be in my lecture sweating, feet dripping of sweat of anxiety, thinking, please don't ask me a question. And like, that's the first step. Good. Like, I bet other people didn't feel that way in there, but I bet I took the most from it. And like, here I am now, and I'll be doing this talk because I've like faced everything that I was scared of or I was anxious about. When, you know, you just do it and adapt and then go again.
Well, I'm definitely pumped to have you there, brother, and grateful for it. And I think in particular for those that are doing the full 3 days on that third day, which will be more an intimate group, I think it would be a really cool opportunity for, you know, anyone that's attending to actually, you know, get to meet the man behind the social and actually, you know, have you kind of there in a more intimate environment, kind of taking their questions on social, taking their questions on mindset, taking their questions on business and kind of doing it in a personalized manner. I think that's going to provide massive value because, you know, so many of the delegates there are kind of where you were 5 years ago, maybe some are where you were 3 years ago. A lot of them are probably going to be where you were 10 years ago, you know, but it's like showing them that, like, fuck, if you've got the right mindset and as long as you push in that fucking right direction, you know, anything's fucking possible, you know. What would you say, you know, is one thing actually, you know, kind of changing tunes, one thing about you that actually people misunderstand about you, right? You know, because I think people see that kind of perception of you online and kind of come to assumptions. Like, what's one thing that people misunderstand?
Well, what you see online's a part of me.
Yeah.
But it isn't me. And
Yeah.
like, you might think I'm this energetic, crazy guy that just says whatever he wants and doesn't give a fuck, but I do. And as you would know, I can chill out too. And there's a genuine, caring side of me that just genuinely wants to help people and help those around me.
Yep.
So you might get this perception that think I'm this or that, or I don't know what people think when they see that, but that's just a part of me.
Oh, look, I always sit back and observe. I mean, I know we were out there last night and we went and bought some ice cream, and you paid for the ice cream and gave them $100 note, and it was a $20 ice cream, and the chick looked like she was going to faint.
Yeah.
Because you just made her day. I think that's something that, it's not something that you go put on social media, but it's testament to kind of that mindset of like fucking actually wanting to go out there and help people. And I think that's what, the fitness industry at its core is actually helping people. So if you get paid on the way doing it, it's a fucking win-win from both sides, right? So let's kind of, I want to bring us in to kind of close things out. Like 2024 for you, brother, what's in store for you?
Few spin kicks. We'll see what happens. But 2024, it's off to a good start.
Yeah.
It's just doing everything I'm doing, but doing it better. And I know some things I've been doing it the last few years that could be holding me back. And I'm at a point where I'm like, all right, a few little changes to my lifestyle. How far can I really go? And like just becoming more of who I am. Like getting out there and being sitting here with you, just being confident doing this, and like putting myself out there more as someone who, when he started, just couldn't really talk, didn't know how to like express myself, to being now and just growing into the person I'm going to be and putting myself through more experiences. But I think I got a bit off track there. But 2024 is the year where it just it all really comes together, and I can be like the person I want to be and actually like accept my role. Like people are coming up to me telling me I'm inspiring them, and that's what I want to do more of.
Yeah.
So it's continuing to do what I'm doing with my business, but just do it better. Better lifestyle choices for myself.
Yep.
Because focusing on being healthy and doing the right things and drinking less and, not stressing as much.
Yep.
Doing all that stuff is just going to help everything else that's going on around me.
Definitely.
So it's all going to happen if I'm doing the right things daily. So that's how I think of it. And I know 2024 is going to be absolutely crazy as long as I stick to my values and do what I know I need to do.
100%. I can see and feel that already, brother. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. For those that actually haven't heard about you, which, there will be some people there that haven't, where do they find you, brother?
Just Google cunt. No. Instagram evidence-based _training. I don't know if you want to find me, but if you do, that's where it will be.
Awesome, brother.
Yep.
All
Thanks for having me.
No, not a problem anytime, brother. I appreciate you. Much love. We'll talk soon. All right.